There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. The dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
this is a dollar bill, which is the now devalued dollar bill. And on the back of the dollar bill, there's a seal on this side. It's called the Great Seal of the United States. That's what it's called. It's their seal. Now, behind the seal, this is actually what is behind the Great Seal of the United States, is a pyramid with one eye. Now, the one eye is the sun god, Re, which is where we get the word ray, sun rays. It is the sun god, same Mithraic character, and he shows up again and again. This is the Masonic god of the ray.
13 5-pointed stars, and when you draw lines between them, you'll draw a 6-pointed star.
If the hexagonal star is lifted out and placed over the image of the pyramid, its points indicate specific letters in the Latin inscription surrounding it, which are thought to be an anagram.
Inside the American dictionary is the word anagram, which is the intentional scrambling of the letters of a word to conceal the real word. So if you re-scramble, you get Masons. This is how we know that the Masons originated the drawings for the Great Seal of the United States.
This search for concealed meanings in the iconography is not confined to the imagery alone. It is claimed that the number 13, the most ominous number in Western tradition, is hidden throughout the symbols on the $1 bill. They point out the repetition of the symbolic number 13. There are 13 leaves on the olive branch in the eagle's right claw, 13 arrows in the left claw, 13 stars above the eagle's head, and 13 bars and stripes on the shield.
Count the feathers. You'll notice that there are 32 feathers on the bird's left wing and 33 on his right wing.
This is understood to refer to the 33 degrees of masonry introduced by the Supreme Council of the Scottish Rite, America's most prominent Masonic order, whose national HQ is in Washington.
If you look, you'll see the pyramid is built except for the top. It's built except for the top. The eye is suspended above the top. It hasn't come down yet. Because they believe until they finished the Masonic project, which is the what they say on the bottom, Novus Ordo Seclorum, and then Annuetta Cheptis, he is pleased with our project. In other words, the God they believe in is pleased with our project. What is the project? This is the question. What is the project that this God is pleased with? The project is literally the secularization of the world. To completely strip the world from religious beliefs. This is the project, and that is why it is called Novus Ordo Seclorum, a new secular or worldly order.
You recognize this? It's a bill of lading from the United States Postal Service for the shipment of 30,000 doses of ecstasis to a warehouse in Jacksonville. You're in violation of a court order.
No, sir. A court order covered exactly 10,000 doses.
Because you misled us. You allowed us to believe that's all you had. You failed to acknowledge the 30,000 doses that you were holding in reserve.
I provided an amount I was told was sufficient.
Which very well might have been if we didn't have to hunt you down to get it. Lives are at stake here, Mr. Mackey.
I understand that. Which is why I'm making additional doses available.
So you and your company can line your pockets.
Respectfully, sir, it is not that simple. Ecstasis is an experimental drug. Our patent is pending. But now the drug is in circulation, meaning every lab in America will be reverse engineering it by Monday. We spent $1 billion in R&D on this drug. If that investment is gone, so is my company.
That is absolutely ridiculous. You're going to peddle some kind of corporate doomsday scenario while the country's really dealing with one? Pharmaceutical companies have made billions upon billions of dollars profit every year on the backs of the American people, with the understanding that if there is ever a crisis, a real emergency, you people would finally step up and do the right thing and make a sacrifice.
It isn't just my sacrifice. We have heart disease drugs in the pipeline, diabetes drugs. Whatever happens with this outbreak, if we go bankrupt, more people will die from the drugs that we do not develop than from this bug.
I took an oath to protect the American people. My job is to save lives now, today, and I will not let you get in the way.
I know what you think of me, sir, but I'm not a racist. I'm a capitalist.
Yet the fact still remains. The community that is suffering from this right now is made up of minorities.
and I want to help them. But I don't run a charity, so pay me what I deserve or have me arrested for contempt of court. But your lawyers better be ready for a fight. In the meantime, Mr. President, I have a business to run. Just like you.
In the meantime, Mr. President, I have a business to run.
Over the city, looking down on Washington, D.C., you'll see there are two main boulevards culminating in a pyramid. And just at the very top of the pyramid is a street cutting it off. And then within the triangle at the top, where the eye on the dollar bill is the Capitol. And the Capitol building sits there. It's a pyramid. Then it has the Cleopatra's Needle, which is a Washington monument. And the river, the long riverway, the long waterway is called the River Styx, which is where Pharaoh went into heaven on the River Styx. It is all laid out in Masonic symbolism, and the five-pointed star, which is a pentagram, has always been used. Satan worship, satanic worship, the five-pointed pentagram, and if you take the arms off of a pentagram, you have a pentagon. And the United States Pentagon is sitting exactly due north, aiming due north at the North Star Thuban, which is drawing power, according to the ancient Egyptians, for the god of war.
Just take a road map of Washington, D.C. Just take a look at it from the air, and you'll see what appears to be the goat of Mendez. And the goat of Mendez,
which is a symbol in Freemasonry. Right. It's a symbol. It's a demonic symbol within the Freemasonic.
You see the goat
order.
and the horns and the whole thing. The whole city is laid out like that. It's all over.
So what we're basically saying here is that there is nothing happening by chance.
What really happened on that Thursday here at Augusta High School that led to Chris Wood's death? The fuck is that? High school that led to Chris Wood's death. High school that led to Chris Wood's death. High school that led to Chris Wood's death. Wood's death. Wood's death. Wood's death. Wood's death.
Who are victims of domestic violence, a Webster family who lost a loved one has been pushing for the change. Anchor and investigative reporters who are victims of domestic violence, a Webster family who lost a loved one has been pushing for the change. Anchor and investigative reporters who are victims of domestic violence, a Webster family who lost a loved one has been pushing for the change. Anchor and investigative for the change. Anchor and investigative for the change. Anchor and investigative reporters who are victims of domestic violence, a Webster family who lost a loved one has been pushing for the change.
Oh. Mess up. Just look. Oops. Done here for it. Whoops.
What's up, guys? What is going on? So, a couple things, man. I'm gonna break some stuff down for y'all in this video, man. I hope this stuff in the background ain't too loud, man, but we got a lot of construction going on over here, man. Yeah, they doing a whole lot. I hope it ain't too loud for y'all, but so we gonna go over some things, man. Some things y'all need to understand. You need to understand, man. You need to get wind of this so you can kind of understand what kind of path we on. Understand why some of the things is going the way it is. So we're gonna touch on that. A couple things though before we get started. A lot of folks been asking. The Detox shop is now back open, okay? It's fully functional. The Detox shop is open once again, guys. I told you I had to go through the review. I had another product that I was adding, but it was one of those products that deal directly with cancer stuff, and they ain't like that. All right, so they wouldn't let it go up, so we had to take that product down and just go with the products that we had. These other products deal with it, but that one was a more complex medication. I think it was that it has shown a lot of promise, okay, but it already had been controversial and everything, so don't have that up on the site. But we do have the other detox products, man, that work just as well for us detoxing and getting stuff out your system. I don't know how much you guys been paying attention to how important that is. I'm so glad that we got JFK's nephew, Robert Kennedy Jr., now working as the head of the health department. That is huge, guys. He's going to be examining stuff like the toxics and poisons in the food and the water. Also going to be dealing with the fluoride that's in the water, man. Also going to be dealing with the stuff that's in the medication. It's a lot of stuff going on. The last video I put out, man, I was talking about some stuff that's related to cancer and things like that. Also, one of the new products. And sure enough, they striked that video, and we was down for a couple weeks. Then the review came for the website, and it's just been a mess. But anyway, like I said, Detox Shop is back up, man. If you haven't got a chance to get yourself cleaned up, you should clean yourself up at least once or twice a year, okay? Quarterly if you can, because parasites form in our bodies over time, man. And if you don't deal with them, man, those parasitic egg sacs, which what those tumors, growths, and cysts, those are termed parasites, okay, waiting to hatch. That's why they say, oh, it might be cancerous, because when they hatch, they move all throughout the body. They eat, okay, they deteriorate your organs, internal organ stuff, but they also lay toxic waste, which is what causes cancer. All right, not supposed to say these things, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Anyway, Detox Shop, man, the super bundle. I think the super bundle right now is going for $150. The ultimate bundle is going for $120, and we got the Flex 4 that's going for $100. Okay, so all of those deal with parasitic infections, man, and we all end up having ultimate. So you can get those. We also have the Trump t-shirts, man, for some folks that been inquiring about that. We do have some Trump shirts, man, that you can get. That's gonna be on the site. I might post it up so you can see them. If I did, you've seen it. If not, just go to the website, man. You can get your Trump shirt, man. Significance to that, man. Let me get into it, man. I'm trying to think how I want to unpack this for y'all. Some of y'all have questioned my allegiance and what I'm, involved with, or who I really kind of vibe with that's out there. And I've been telling y'all, man, I rocks with Trump. And the reason I say that is because I understand that he's on a mission to do some things, and he's getting it done. Now, it's things that people look at and they don't understand. They don't quite understand. I get that. It's some things. It's some things that y'all don't quite understand. Some stuff that may not make sense to you right out the gate. But I'm gonna break it down as best I can, some of the stuff, so that you can. Now, y'all remember how I went over the whole World Health Organization thing? Man, that thing is loud. I hope that thing ain't messing up this video now. But yeah, the World Health Organization, man, and how Trump removed us from the World Health Organization. He got away from that climate change crap, man. Think about all the stuff he's getting away from and reversing. This is not the movement of somebody that's working on the same team. I don't know how, and some of you that see it, I don't agree with it. He's reversing the transgender stuff. Like the diversity, exclusion, inclusion, or something like that. I can't think of exactly what it is. But that's dealing directly with the transgender stuff, man. Now, I know some of you looking like, oh, well, it's affecting minorities and it's affecting women. It's not meant to. And that's what we have to understand. Him doing away with that is not to do harm to you. Now, it's going to be casualties in this. Stuff is going to go back and forth, and you're going to be affected by stuff that he did because, remember, the Democrats put out bills and things where they put the fluff on top and they put the BS underneath. They push something to make it seem like they're doing something for you, but it's actually against you. Okay, so yeah, they can do the DEI program and make it sound like, oh, this is for minorities, but it's really not. It's really to push the transgender movement. That's really what it's been about. That's why you see him aggressively attacking the transgender crap that's in the military and in the workplace. It's all tied together. See, the Democrats use that stuff, just like I talked about the abortion stuff. I got in trouble last time I talked about the abortion stuff, so I ain't gonna go there. But this is why he did this stuff. He's addressing the things that's been layered. You see what I'm saying? So it's been pushed underneath, so you don't really understand. Okay, well, why are you doing this? It's gonna affect it's a lot of stuff that's gonna affect everybody. Okay, but you gonna have to deal with that to get to the root. You're gonna have to get to the root in order to get things back on the right track. Now, I believe personally that he's going to do something to kind of remedy that, or to get that leveled out to whereas, yeah, you're more so dealing with minorities and you're not packaging us all together with transgender, because that's what it's been. You've been packaging it. You see what I'm saying? That's what it's been, a package deal. And with the package deal, it allows them to push forward the BS, which is really the transgender movement. It's not the movement for minorities. Okay, it's not the movement to equal out things in the workplace for women and stuff. It's not what it's about. And I said the same thing about the abortion. Yeah, they trying to say, oh yeah, you can have abortion, but it's not for you to benefit from that. Just like taking the walk. It's not for you to benefit. They had to include to make it seem like it, but it's really not for you to benefit. So you gotta understand that. So, a couple things, man. Let's get to it. I'm already 7 minutes in, but so the beginning of this video, guys, we dealing with stuff as far as the Constitution, man. We dealing with stuff as far as the United States corporation. All right, now you understand Trump is a businessman, so you gotta know he gonna look at the business aspects of this crap. You see what I'm saying? He gonna get down and underneath all the fluff that's been put down there, which is all it is. He's a businessman, so he gonna see that, he gonna dissect it and be able to break it down. Now, for some of you don't understand, the United States is a corporation. It's been a corporation. It has been, okay? But you got to understand how this stuff came about, what took place, what's transpired, what got put where, and how this affects us all. Okay, so we understand this, man. A couple things you got to look at. So you look at the dollar bill, which I'll tell y'all something. Dollar bill, man, has a lot of truth on it, has a lot of information on it, but you really won't pay attention to. But you gotta look at, when did the dollar bill start having the reptilian skin? Look at the dollar bill when it started having reptilian skin. Reptilian skin came around 1914. Coincident? Maybe, maybe not. Now, granted, it's like 1871 that America, we basically got sold into slavery. Some of y'all don't know that. United States became a corporation and you became a slave. How's that? And you got to start getting traded on the stock market. People discovered this a while ago, man. It was fact. I'm gonna tell you like this. I actually was able to do what they said that you could do, like use your trust account. Like everybody had a trust account and all that. Those ain't know about that. But back when it first popped off and I found out about it, I was like, oh wow, I looked into it, checked it out, boom. I actually did, guys. I actually paid some bills. I kid you not. With my trust. How, man, hey, they jumped on that stuff and shut it down, but people was on it, right? Because we really have money. Like your social security number and all that stuff, man, it's all linked to the stock market. And what was the site? I can't think of what it was. Some of y'all might know if you knew about this stuff back then. So
a lot of people don't realize that the presidential election that just occurred and the inauguration process is a lot bigger than we can even imagine. And let me break that down. So back in 1871, our country, America, was sold by our president, Ulysses S. Grant, to basically the royal family. We became owned. We lost all sovereignty, all freedoms, all constitutional rights. We became what is called the USA Incorporated business entity. Now, what does that have to do with anything today? So many of you just watched the inauguration and things that took place, and a lot of things stood out. And the biggest one was realizing that Trump actually has never left quote unquote office. You see, there's two presidents, there's two types of worlds that we're living in. One that is fake, one that is built unconstitutionally, one that is based on certain laws, one that is based on corruption and manipulation, and based pretty much in a foreign occupation territory known as Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. also works in coordinates with the Vatican and also the royal family, and then you tie in all other places where the deep state operates to control and depopulate the world. Sounds aggressive, right? On the other timeline, there is a constitutional republic. And this is why you've seen Trump wear these hats that said 45-47. He never left. It looks like he did. It looks like he had to resign or step away for Biden to come in. But the whole Biden administration was just to wake the world up to how corrupt these people are. You have to zoom out. This whole process, the last 8 years you've been seeing, more than that, has literally been a global military operation. How, what, and why? To wake up the public, to restore back our Constitution, to transfer power from a centralized, corrupt, globalist, New World Order, deep state government back into the hands of the people. And so what you have just witnessed and what you are going to continue to see from what's happening at the border, what's happening in our economy, what's happening in pharmaceuticals, what's happening in banking, what's happening in DC and politics, which is now no longer and is a bankrupt corporation, we are becoming sovereign and free as a country. We're turning power back to the people. This is the most amazing time to be alive. The best is truly yet to come. And when Trump says the golden age, that is beyond what most of us can even comprehend. To get to these places, though, we have to wake up. We have to zoom out and connect the dots and realize this whole time we've been lied to, living under this corporation where we are the employees and the government has been our boss, when in reality, these roles should have been flipped since day one. I pray that you stay peace. I pray that you stay grounded. I pray that you share this and really start to look into things of how this corporation has been dissolved, how the power is going to be returning back to the people. And when you start to connect these dots, when you zoom out, you'll realize that nothing can truly stop what is coming. And the best is truly yet to come. God bless you.
This goes back more than a century, and it changes everything you know about the United States. This lady lost her life trying to get you this information. This isn't taught in schools, it's not mentioned in the news, but it's real, and it affects every American to this day.
Is the Constitution that we know today in effect, or is there a different Constitution that you claim?
Unfortunately, we are being snookered by the Congress, and we are not under our first Constitution. We are under this second secret Constitution. The reason this happened is because when Benjamin Franklin was negotiating the Revolutionary War debt, he got a rescheduling, and it was going to fall due in the 1870s. And when that debt fell due, and we couldn't pay it, that's when the bankers gave us a second secret Constitution. They turned the United States into a corporation.
Under this new corporate constitution, citizens became property, collateral for debt. Your rights, your freedoms, all subordinated to the needs of the corporate entity. Every time you pay taxes, every time you interact with the government, you're not dealing with a republic. You are dealing with a corporation. And here is where it gets really crazy.
When you go to court to protect your right, you don't even get to first base, because that judge is not sitting in what you call a court of equity. They're not looking at you as if you're a citizen of the United States. They're handling you as if you're a person who's just servicing the debt of the United States. You're there as a thing.
Hello folks, I am Paul Leo the Arcturian, and I'm back with another interesting video that you may very well not believe. However, the evidence is there, so you can make up your own mind. I'm showing this video because it's probably time that this was reintroduced to the world, since we're living in Revelations. And if you really want to know who the so-called gods are in their own form, well, have a look at this. I will show you This was a screenshot off of the royal.uk website, which is the official royal family website. Queen seen different form, 2015. I'll read it out to you if you can't see the screen very easily. Queen seen by her subjects in a different form. The Queen has ruled for longer than any other monarch in British history, becoming a much loved and respected figure across the globe. Her extraordinary reign has seen her travel more widely than any other monarch, undertaking many historic overseas visits. Known for her sense of duty and her devotion to a life of service, she has been an important figurehead for the UK and the Commonwealth during times of enormous social change. Earlier this week, the Queen was seen by thousands of people in a form they are not acquainted with. We seek to reassure the public that the Queen is still their Queen and remains the respected and loved figure they have always known. While she may not be human, she is a devoted leader and monarch, and she believes her subjects will grow to accept her and her family for what they are. I pay tribute to the commitment, selfless devotion, and generosity of spirit shown by my millions of human subjects, and I fully respect them to digest this news in a mature and humble fashion. Nothing has changed. Together we shall march on, she says. So that's what she had to say here. So the people saw her in a form that they're not acquainted with, and they have sought to reassure the public that she's still their Queen. And while she may not be human, she is a devoted leader and monarch, and she believes her subjects will grow to accept her and her family for what they are. Now, as you can see, this is the official royal website that this was taken from. www.royal.uk/Queen soon seen different form 2015, that says. So, what do you think about that? In the circle, there's millions of people that are fully aware that the Queen is not human. And to some people watching this, you may think that that is completely and totally and utterly ridiculous. However, humans still have little to no understanding of the dynamics of what we really and truly are, let alone the dynamics of fourth dimensional creatures such as the reptilians, who know how to manipulate the micro cosms, is the word that's coming to me. Those energies that make up matter. Their entities, the reptilian entities, are different to our souls, and we are source energy beings, and we get our energy from source energy, the prime creator. That's what empowers us. And these reptilians, they only go up to the 4th dimension, although there are within this earth plane, they are only to 4th dimension within this field of existence. There are 5th dimensional reptilian beings. They are more highly evolved. The reptilian entities that have been on this earth have mostly been removed, but there are still, from what I understand, there's still around 20,000 inhabiting human bodies, and they can't be removed because there's no safe way to remove them without destroying the original soul of that body. So these are typically the entities that are associated with the Vatican, Illuminati, and the evil faction of the Cabal. They are reptilian entities, and that's why they have no feeling, and that's why they practice Satanism and a lot of other things. David Icke is very well rehearsed on this. If you look up David Icke, that's David I-C-K-E, if I remember rightly. Loads of information. Many people have heard of him. He's heavily involved with this phenomena. So anyhow, that may be a shock for some, but if you do your research, then when you get into that rabbit hole, you have a lot that's going to make your jaw drop. Anyway, I'll leave it at that, and I hope this has been interesting for you. Lots of love. Peace be with you all. The light is winning. The Illuminati are being disseminated, destroyed, and revealed. And humanity has some shocking, very shocking revelations that are on their way. Good evening, folks, and namaste with love.
Anywho, you got sold into slavery, right? But remember what dude was saying in 1940. He was like, what if we become vassals or slaves to this race of beings that want to help us? They was claiming they was going to help us, okay? Now, mind you, these race of beings went over to Germany and stuff like that. And that's how you end up with the Holocaust and things, World War I. Now, some people believe, and I'm not saying this is true, I'm just saying, Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the demons, as they put it, demons got cast down to earth in 1914. They say 1913 or 1914, which is very significant in a big scheme of things. All right, and I'm not saying it's true, but Jehovah's Witnesses believe that the devils was cast out of heaven, the angels was cast out of heaven and was thrown out here and become demons in 1914. Why is that significant, man? Well, let's take a look at it. 1914, that's around the same time that dollar, the reptilian dollar, came around. Is that a coincidence? You got to think about that. Why would they do that at the same time? Well, so you have you know it that when we got sold, when America got sold and became a corporation, they got sold to who? They got sold to Britain or to the British, to the Queen of England. Got sold to the Queen of England. What's the significance? Hello, have you not been watching my videos? Why you think I put that at the beginning? Why you think I put that at the beginning about the Dracos and stuff? Y'all understand that the royal family is not human. Now you like, oh, okay, I see. So let me put it all together for you in case you missed it. You and I got sold into slavery back in like 1871. It wasn't until 1914 that the dollar changed. That's why I got the stuff about the dollar in here. And you understand that the Queen of England, or whatnot, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth, who was a Draco, who Princess Diana pointed that out, said the whole royal family, they not human. That's why they killed Princess Diana. See, I'm going deep on y'all. See, you gotta research this stuff. Like, damn, man, what you talking about? See, it's hard to piece all this together, man, unless you really been studying, you really been researching. You have to really been in my videos, man, to know what I'm talking about, be able to pick up on this stuff. Because this stuff it sound far-fetched. Let me continue on. So, you got sold into slavery. We became a slave race. America became enslaved, right? So, when that happened, and all this, we start being traded on the stock and all that stuff, the straw man and all that became a thing. That's why your name in all caps and stuff, right? Because as the straw man, as the corporation, that's how you are being, like, that's where your value is. As the straw man, the all caps, and the value in your birth certificate and all that stuff all became part of that. That whole United States corporation, like your employee ID and all that, right? So we became slaves to the reptilian race. Now, as far as all countries, it was something similar. A lot of the other countries had the same thing going on. But for us specifically, yes, you became part of the slave race. Okay, and that's why it says, in God we trust on the dollar bill. Because they are supposed to be our gods. Does it make sense? And the notes, those notes, the instruments, are what we were being slaves to the money. Why you think you pay taxes? Where do your taxes go? The IRS is a private company. Private company owned by who? Where does all your money go? Where does all your money go? Internal Revenue Service. Y'all know that was owned or still owned by, was the Rothschilds? Rothschilds or what? I'll wait. Not human. So you paying taxes. So you paying, think about it, you go to work all day, and most of your money, because they taxing your income, they taxing the stuff that you purchase, so you really not making as much money as you think, because most of the money that you receive and the most of the money you pay out some of it goes toward the taxes on it. And the taxes go to who? The royal families. Coincidental enough. Now I did a video where they showed the whole thing with the Titanic going down and stuff, and how you had some very iconic figures that was on that ship at the time that went down with it, coincidentally, that opened up the door for some of these folks to get in position. Folks like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, for them to get in position to do this stuff. A lot of that stuff was set up like that. Certain people didn't get on that ship, but it was certain people they made sure was on that ship that went down. That's why Titanic went down. It was a money thing. They was doing stuff, man, since back in freaking early 1800s and stuff. They was setting things up in motion, right? Talk about 9/11 and stuff today. They been doing that stuff. Been doing it. It's like I said, just because you woke up today don't mean stuff wasn't going on yesterday. It was going on. So we got to understand, man, that the United States became a corporation and whatnot. Now, this was, it's funny because you talk about back when Tesla was working on the time travel and stuff, and he got in touch with these beings. These beings were interdimensional beings. He got in touch with them, right? And we came up with the ability to time travel and stuff, and it was linked to John Trump, which was Donald Trump's uncle, right? He got it, and then look, check it out. Donald Trump ends up being president. Now, what way would you fix something that was messed up? If you could, if you had to, how would you go about doing it? If you had the ability to time travel, how could you fix something? Would you take the seat of the president? So you go back, like I tell y'all, the book, The Adventures of Baron Trump, came out in 1890, where they talk about Trump being the president. How is that possible? If everything I'm saying is BS, how is that possible that they came out with a book in 1890 called Baron Trump, Adventures of Baron Trump, and it talks about Donald Trump being the president? It talks about him being the last president, actually, too, which he would be the president of the free republic, okay? Which all this crap that we just went through, you had Biden, who was basically the president of the corporation. People made a big fuss about Trump not putting his hand on the Bible. Well, that was kind of a tradition as far as tying him into the United States corporation, not for us, the United States, the Republic. This stuff starting to make sense for you. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? Guys, it's deep. This is deep. So Donald Trump has been the president. Why do you think it say 45? You watch it, look at his hat, it say 45 through 47. 45 through 47. He never left the seat as the Republic president. Maybe for the United States corporation. Now you remember, think about it. I told you that the royal family is not human. Some of y'all understand that, some of y'all know that, right? So the royal family, they had us as slaves. They collecting, Internal Revenue Service is collecting off the skin of the labor that you putting out. Trump went over there. Remember when he went over there and met with the Queen and all that? People were like, oh, why he meet with it? You know what I'm saying? He met with the Queen. He basically was letting them know at that time, look, this is how we finna handle this. We finna handle this. And she understood that. Why you think she gone? Why you think at this time, you talking about, telling you, stop thinking about it how you think about it. Which thinking she a regular person. She's not a regular person. She never been. None of them are. Look at Princess Diana. She ain't had to come up with that and lie about that. Princess Diana told you she wasn't human. Okay?
Princess Diana said about the royal family that they are literally not human. Now, Aryan initiates, these are positioned between man and God in their belief system, which makes them demigods. A demigod or demigoddess is a part human and part divine offspring of a deity and a human, or someone who has attained the divine spark. This is the beehive hexagram. It symbolises elite rule over a worker colony. It also means in secret societies that we all work as one in order to achieve a common goal. Here we see the fleur-de-lis, which came from the bee symbol. And here we see just one example of many across the world, where we have beehive huts. This is Egypt. These were called the Sarmung. Sarmung means beekeeper, and that indicates that they are the knowledge keepers, because the nectar that bees collect is really symbolic for the knowledge that is collected by the knowledge keepers.
They live a lot longer than regular people. They talking about thousands of years and crap. These are Dracos, right? So he let her know. They like, either you gonna go peacefully, you can do how you want to do, or we just gonna handle you. But y'all about to release these folks. We about to break away from this, and we gonna get our sovereignty back.
A night of pomp and pageantry as the President and First Lady Melania are honored at a state dinner in Buckingham Palace.
Mr. President, I'm delighted to welcome you and Mrs. Trump to Buckingham Palace this evening.
Melania was elegant in a sleeveless white silk Dior couture gown and long gloves. First daughter Ivanka wore a blue floral dress. And there's Princess Kate. The main course consisted of steamed fillet of halibut, asparagus spears, and saddle of new season Windsor lamb. The Trumps' first day in London started with an official royal welcome. But no bow from the president, no curtsy from Melania. As Americans, they don't have to. And was that a fist bump? Nope, turns out it was just an awkward handshake. So, what did the Queen say to the president? I asked Inside Edition lip reader Larry Wenig.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, so you're here.
Well, so you're here. The president was invited to inspect the Queen's Guard and chatted with the soldiers. What does he say to the soldiers here?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Very good.
Very good.
This is the show, huh?
This is the show, huh? He's in a good mood. The president is already causing an uproar as a feud erupts with the mayor of London, who is calling him a global threat. The mayor has given anti-Trump protesters permission to fly that baby Trump blimp during the visit and hang banners on London's bridges.
Now, you see she gone. At the same time, you seeing all these people in position being removed, okay? You seeing a lot of things like, remember when stuff was going, when Trump first came in, he wasn't gonna be able to get it done all in one. If you had to watch my first video, The Rabbit Hole, what the hell is that? Oh, that's a hawk, a big ass hawk. Damn, really like eagle. Anyway, The Rabbit Hole, they was talking about how, you know, they was cleaning house, they was going in the tunnels and stuff, and they was getting the kids out, right? They was taking care of that. They was ridding, or pretty much getting all these Dracos. They was gonna be getting them out of our earth, out of our atmosphere. They was getting them out of here, and they was gonna bring sovereignty basically back to the people, all right? And they was gonna clean this crap up. That's what they was talking about. So that stuff was happening, right? You was dealing with the underground stuff. Now you've been dealing with the political arena, draining the swamp, getting them things up out of politics, getting them out of those positions. They've been on the news media. That's why he was fighting with them. Mainstream news, fake news. You know, they made a last ditch effort. Now, if you remember, some of y'all might remember, I did a video back last election where they was talking about basically trying to have Trump stand down, or they was threatening to use weapons of mass destruction on the American people. This was talked about. Now, I'm gonna tell you what I believe, guys. I'm gonna tell you what I believe. I believe, and they were saying that Trump had to stand down and stuff. He couldn't do what he wants to do because they was threatening. So, remember I told you it's a war. It's been a war going on. What you see on the surface is not what went on in the background. You see the peaceful transfer of power in your eye. You ain't seeing the battle that's going on in the skies. You ain't seen the battle that's going on underground. You heard about, some of y'all heard about the battles that was going on underground. The military was going in, cleaning out stuff, right? Just like I had that guy from the military that was on one of my last videos. He was talking about, we fighting it's real aliens out here, and it's drones and stuff. We attacking this and that. He was telling y'all. So you got to start putting it all together. You see what I'm saying? Stuff was already going on. We was fighting with them. People always been talking about, man, a lot of these, I played a video all the time with dudes like, there's a certain amount of what's-it-calls in the military, certain amount of politics, and Hollywood. Hollywood got all this crap going on. People getting pulled out of Hollywood. People getting pulled out of politics. People getting pulled out the military. You see what I'm saying? A lot of action is going on. But when you get the information, it's going to come off like it's just a regular situation. It's not going to tell you, oh, they just, eradicated a certain amount of folks up out of this sector or that sector. That's the stuff you gotta be able to put together yourself. The mainstream news, they not regular people. The majority of them. So they're not gonna tell you they losing the battles. They're not gonna tell you what's going on. They're gonna continue to do what they've been doing, right? And they're gonna try to hide it. They're gonna try to keep it kind of concealed. But we just gotta look at what's happening on the forefront, right? The transgender movement is being changed. Y'all know that they've been using that. Talk about the Baphomet stuff, the satanic stuff, the demons. You gotta look at this, man. And I tell y'all this all the time, man. You got Satan, you got Dracos, all right? And you look at that, you gotta put that together and understand that they one and the same, all right? They work together. Satan wants to lower your vibration. The Dracos want to keep you vibrating low so you can't ascend. I told y'all that, okay? So then you gotta look at the Jesus and the God and the angels parts. You gotta factor that in and see, well, how does this correlate? Like, you gonna be lost if you're not piecing it together. It's been segmented and fragmented to where you can't really put it together. Like I tell y'all about the heavens. You're talking about other dimensions. You're talking about the upper dimensions. You can't go there if you're not vibrating high. You ain't gonna vibrate high if you ain't got Jesus in your heart. You got love in your heart. That's what it is, okay? And you ain't got Christ in your mind, Christ consciousness. You gotta have the consciousness to be able to ascend. That's why God gave you that portal. But you've been taught not to use it, not to activate it. And they've been using medicines to make sure that you can't. But the devil, this is his lair. They aim to keep you here, right? You enslaved her as in the physical, but they also harnessing your energy. They harvesting your soul, and that's why they want you to return back here and continue this cycle until you learn and you're able to break through. Man. Anyway, so Trump, guys, you gotta understand, Trump is doing what he's supposed to do as far as making it possible for you to be able to live a normal life somewhat on this place, on this realm. But he is being used. He's with what you would really know to be the positive beings. All right, he's getting help. I keep telling y'all, you can't fight these things by yourself. You can't do it. You can't do it, man. They got too much power, man. They got too much strength. They got too much technology. It ain't happening. But the positive beings do too. That's why you got positive things happening to some of these platforms like Facebook and stuff. Now you got Mark Zuckerberg going with the good guys. You got who is it? Somebody else flipped recently. Somebody else that flipped. I can't think of them, man. But anyway, let me continue. So Trump basically, man, was restoring the republic. That's what he's been doing. And I put some pieces in here in this video to help you to understand it. You've been slaves to the slave race is why you work for the slave money, which is being taxed, which goes to the royal family, which is the Dracos. It's just making sense, right? So Trump is looking to break you away from that. Now, he created the ERS, which is the External Revenue Service, which they are supposed to be taxing, putting tariffs on foreign countries and stuff like that. Told you he created Space Force and stuff. But Internal Revenue Service is supposed to be bringing money back to the people, right? See, why is Trump doing stuff to give money and put power in the back of the hands of the people? Just like restoring the Constitution. Why is he breaking away from those that are trying to enslave the people, like the World Health Organization, right? That's why that walk that people took, man, that thing had a lot of significance to it, man, on the spiritual and the physical level. Do you understand? Spiritually, yes, it looked to trap you here. It looked to control you here. Physically, it had all kind of stuff to it. And the reason they put this out, man, is because this time was coming. They wanted to trap as many people as they could. Control as many people as they could. Get as many souls, get as many people to vibrate low as they could. And of course they was, they was microchipping and stuff. And they got a lot of people that's hooked up to the cloud system right now. Unfortunately, you got hypoborgenesis out here. You got new race of beings. Now you talk about Lucifer race. Why would the Dracos want you to put something called Lucifer race in you if they're not directly linked to Satan himself? guys, you got to start piecing this stuff together. You got to start piecing it together. But no. Remember, like I said, the whole Barron Trump stuff, man. You talk about Trump being the last president of the republic. That's why there probably will be no. In this video, he just was talking about, I might be a president for another term and another term. You saw that? I might have to play it on her, man. But he's talking about being a president for a long time. How can you even say that? And why would he?
It will be the greatest honor of my life to serve not once, but twice, or 3 times, or 4 times. Headlines from the fake news. Now it will be to serve twice.
He's saying that, and why does that happen to correlate with the book Adventures of Barron Trump, when he was the last president and he was supposed to be the president at this time? How is that possible without time travel? How is it possible without predicting the future? Talk about the Bible prophecy. The Bible ain't the only thing that's prophesized and stuff, man. I told you the beings didn't touch the Bible. They didn't touch the Bible and got stuff off on y'all, and y'all ain't even know it. Man, this stuff is deep. It's deep. I know. So yeah, guys. A couple of things that Trump's been doing in the background, kind of getting things in position, man. He's found money that they basically, and you gotta understand, as a business, the corporation, they've been doing stuff to benefit themselves. They work for the corporation, but they also own the corporation. So they making business moves with the corporation to make money for themselves. They have money stashed. Trump then found money and stuff that they was using, basically, that need to be going to the people and helping folks that got issues and things in our country, and stop raising our prices and inflation and start all this crap that they doing, and give that money back to the people. So he's doing that. Like, it's certain instances. I think I got a clip in here about some stuff he found. It was like $300 billion that they was looking to try to, to push over into their foreign accounts and do all that crap, man. Pay out people, like, they was laundering money over into Ukraine. So I gotta watch what I say, man, because they don't want you knowing, they don't want you talking about this stuff. And say, oh, you misinformation, right? I'm Mr. Misinformation. So I can't just say stuff, man. That's why I break it down, and sometimes I might slow down when I say something, because the algorithm don't check it the same. They don't. That's one thing I learned.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday night. Trump is moving on so many fronts, over 500 major actions devastating the deep state. I can't even keep track of it. But I just saw a report a little while ago from Steve Bannon, and I looked into it. It's absolutely on target, that Trump is using something that hasn't been used in a long time by presidents, but it's in the law and the Constitution, called impoundment. Impoundment. And I'm about to show you what Bannon was saying, where there's over $300 billion of the $1 trillion of the new Green Deal scam, where the Democrats just give it to their friends and then build no infrastructure. It's just a huge Clard and Piven boondoggle to collapse the country while they enrich themselves. And there's $300 billion still unspent. So under the law, the new president can freeze that money and not let Congress use it for all the windmills and scams and transgender DEI BS, and get it back into border security and the military and taking care of veterans and paying down the debt and just doing so much more. This is massive. This is what happens when you get a president in power that actually cares about the people. This is seismic impoundment. And they're saying there's hundreds of billions of other money in there that they had in slush funds that Trump is now going to move in and impound. This is massive. This is how you take it to the deep state, cut off their money they tried to put in piggy banks for themselves, not thinking Trump knew about it. He didn't understand this 8 years ago. He knows now that they put all this money away for themselves that they can direct around, but not when he's aware of it. This is so huge.
The Vatican, a third city-state, was officially created in 1982. That city-state is called the District of Columbia and is located on 10 square miles of land in the heart of Washington. The District of Columbia flies its own flag and has its own independent constitution. Although geographically separate, the city-states of London, the Vatican, and the District of Columbia are one interlocking empire called Empire of the City. The flag of Washington's District of Columbia has 3 red stars, one for each city-state in the 3-city empire. This corporate empire of 3 city-states controls the world economically through London's inner city, militarily through the District of Columbia, and spiritually through the Vatican. The Constitution for the District of Columbia operates under a tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori, which bears no resemblance to the U.S. Constitution. When Congress passed the Act of 1871, it created a separate corporate government for the District of Columbia. This treasonous act allowed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation outside the original Constitution of the United States and outside of the best interests of American citizens. A sobering study of the signed treaties and charters between Britain and the United States exposes a shocking truth. The United States has always been, and still is, a British Crown colony. King James I was famous not for just changing the Bible into the King James Version, but for signing the First Charter of Virginia in 1606. That charter granted America's British forefathers a license to settle and colonize America. The charter also guaranteed that future kings and queens of England would have sovereign authority over all the citizens and colonized land in America stolen from the Indians. After America declared its independence from Great Britain, the Treaty of 1783 was signed. That treaty specifically identifies the King of England as the Prince of the United States and contradicts the belief that America won the War of Independence. Although King George III of England gave up most of his claims over his American colonies, he kept his right to continue receiving payment for his business venture of colonizing America. If America had really won the War of Independence, they would never have agreed to pay debts and reparations to the King of England. When Congress passed the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, the U.S. President was made subservient to the King of England. The 13th Amendment is called the Title of Nobility Amendment and forbids U.S. presidents and their officials from using royal titles like King or Prince or Baron. For some mysterious reason, the 13th Amendment, which was ratified in 1810, no longer appears on current copies of the Constitution. America's blood-soaked War of Independence against the British bankrupted America and turned its citizens into permanent debt slaves of the King. In the War of 1812, the British torched and burned to the ground the White House and all U.S. government buildings and destroyed ratification records of the U.S. Constitution. 1 century later, a corrupt U.S. Congress committed the biggest theft in world history. They passed Paul Warburg's Federal Reserve Act in 1913, handing over America's gold and silver reserves and total control of America's economy to the Rothschild banksters. Most Americans still believe that the Fed, or Federal Reserve, is the government. It is not. The Fed is a privately owned banking system whose majority Class A shareholders are the Rothschilds, Warburgs, Kuhn and Loeb, J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, Israel Seif, and the Lehman Brothers. This private banking cartel is the Fed and is never audited and never pays taxes. They print and design America's money, which displays their symbols of an Egyptian pyramid, a Masonic all-seeing eye, and the words, "In God we trust." Who exactly is the God they trust? They also collect American taxpayers' money through the IRS. Then they loan it back again with interest to pay for roads, bridges, and other public. Most U.S. citizens believe that the United States is a country and that the President is the most powerful man on earth. The United States is not a country. It is a corporation, and the President is President of the Corporation of the United States. He and his elected officials work for the corporation, not for the American people. Since the United States is a corporation, who owns the corporation of the United States? Like Canada and Australia, whose leaders are prime ministers of the Queen and whose land is called Crown Land, the United States is just another Crown colony. Crown colonies are controlled by the empire of 3 city-states. At the center of each city-state is a towering, phallic-shaped stone monument called an obelisk that points skyward. In D.C. city-state, the obelisk, known as the Washington Monument, was dedicated to Freemason George Washington by the Freemason Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. The Secretive Brotherhood of Freemasons laid the Washington obelisk's cornerstone in 1848 and contributed 22 Masonic memorial stones. 250 Masonic lodges finance the Washington Monument obelisk, including the Knights Templar Masonic Order. At the heart of London city-state is a 187-ton, 69-foot-tall Egyptian obelisk called Cleopatra's Needle. It was transported from Egypt and erected on the banks of the River Thames. In Vatican City, another Egyptian obelisk towers high above St. Peter's Square.
You know, I've been hearing rumors about those black microfibers that are kind of worm-like that move inside of those N95 masks or whatever. Sure enough, there are black microfibers on here, as you can see. Here it is, moving.
Harmful parasites, along with the secret technology, has created a toxic environment in our bodies. These harmful particles, parasites, toxins and poisons exist in the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, and the medicines we take. Detoxifying the body is critical to long-term health and is a necessity for optimal brain and organ function. To address these growing health concerns with yourself and others, visit detoxificationbypurification.com, where we specialize in treating the harmful effects caused by the integration of these harmful substances in the body by providing products that destroys the foreign organisms and disables the foreign technology meant to control you.
Sure enough, there are black microfibers on here, as you can see. Here it is, moving right now. See that? It's moving.
The government. It loves you and wants to keep you safe and well. It even wants to make paying taxes, fines, and court costs easier for you. How? Well, you'll need to meet your straw man. He was born the same day you were. He looks like you, has the same name, and lives in your house, but you never knew he existed. You will have even paid his parking tickets or taxes. The worst part? He's been dead from day one. From every birth certificate, a legal personality, or legal fiction, is created with the same name to confuse little old you into thinking it's you. So, there is a human you and a paper you, or as it's commonly known, a straw man. So when it seems like government officials, court clerks, or the police are speaking English, they aren't. They're speaking legalese, designed to make you agree to verbal and written contracts without even knowing about it, all spun from Black's Law Dictionary. For example, when the police say, "Do you understand?" you'll say, "Yes." What they are really saying is, "Do you stand under our authority?" Oops-a-daisy, you just created a verbal contract with them. Oh, you clever government. Did you know that whenever you register something, you are handing over title to the person you register it with? That's right. Whenever you register something with the government, they assume it belongs to them. Registered your car? Super! Now you are the registered keeper of your vehicle, and the government can crush it when you don't pay your, straw man's taxes. Expecting a new bundle of joy? Well, then you need to register your little darling with a birth certificate. Then they can start the process all over again and create a new straw man for your little one. Isn't that great? So when Junior grows up, he'll be able to generate revenue just like you have. When you notify on your baby by signing the birth certificate, your child becomes a ward of state. And if the government doesn't like what you're doing, they'll assume it's okay to take the child away or make new rules for things they don't like. Not enough school? Smacking your child? Shouting too loudly? Then it's off to social services for the little one. When you get a bill, it's sent to you but belongs to your straw man, not you. That's why bills, fines, and summons start with Mr., Mrs., or Ms. Sometimes you'll see your surname in capitals, just like on a gravestone. That's because your straw man is dead and just a silly piece of paper. created before you could comprehend or even consent to it. When you go to court, you represent your straw man, so you, the human, take on any costs, fees, taxes, and fines involved for the straw man. The human you doesn't even need to pay them. But you made a contract with the court by appearing on behalf of your legal personality or straw man, just like the government knew you would. Confused? Well, don't worry. The government doesn't want you to know anyway. If you knew, you'd stop paying things like council tax and parking tickets. Because when you go to court, you are representing your straw man. You are you, alive and made of flesh and blood. Your straw man, or legal personality, is a piece of paper created from your birth certificate. And you think it's you. What a silly Billy. Would you like to know more? Well, then go over to tpuc.org. Get up, get informed, and get real.
Now, this is something I want you to understand, and you need to listen carefully because this is profoundly important. Most people have never heard this and don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So try and follow what I'm going to tell you. On the back of the Social Security card will be numbers in red. On the front will be in blue or black, but on the back will be in red. The numbers on the back of a Social Security card in red designate your body. It is the serial number of your stock. And this is why if you're wealthy, you are preferred stock. If you're poor, you are common stock. But you are a stock on the stock market. Your body is bought and sold through the use of your birth certificate. This is why when you were born, you have to have a birth certificate. Therefore, your birth certificate is signed by your mother, and where your mother signed on the birth certificate, get it, you will see it does not say parent or mother, it says informant. You need to wake up and find out how this stuff really works. After the change of the century, coming into 1900s, decided they wanted to expand. They got so much money and they're doing so well. They thought maybe we could expand the business, move the corporation out a little bit. Let's expand business. Let's go to Germany or Europe and open up a big corporation there, and take in their corporation, their government. We'll take them over. And the Germans said, "Hey, Jack, it's like a mafia. What are you coming over here? You're gonna buy me? I'll buy you. You don't buy me." Like the Godfather movie. And the American corporation, British American corporation, said, "Unfortunately, maybe you didn't understand. Let me restate it so you understand. I didn't ask you. I'm telling you. We're moving in here. It's called a corporate takeover." And so there was a hostile corporate takeover, where the American corporation decided they wanted to take over in Europe, and they didn't want to be taken over. Well, it's too bad. They take over anyway. So they called it a hostile corporate takeover. We call it World War I. So the corporation called United States was able to overthrow the existing corporate order in Europe, but it cost a lot of money. They had to build a lot of tanks and jeeps and pay a lot of people, and the corporation, well, they were successful. They did what they wanted to do, but they went broke doing it. And so when they went broke doing it, and then the bankers pulled their money out in 29, we had something called a stock market crash. Because the corporation spent so much money, they went broke. So the international banker says, well, if you're broke, what are you coming to me for? I'm not going to loan you money if you're broke. And so what do you have as collateral? You got any collateral that you can put up for me to loan you the money? And the corporation called United States, the British corporation called United States, said, yes, we have the stock. We'll give you stock in the company. You are the stock in the corporation. So they give your body to the banks in Switzerland. So your body now becomes stock for the corporation called United States because you are a money maker. Bankers came in and said, if we're going to loan you money, you guys have lost money, you guys have gone bankrupt, we're going to take care of the accounting. We're going to see where the money goes. We'll give you the money, but we're going to make it sure it goes where we want it to go. So they set up the Federal Reserve System and then the collection agency to make damn sure that you people pay us. We're going to set up to keep a record of how much you owe us in business each week. We're going to call that the Federal Reserve. And to make sure that your stock, all the chumps out there in America working, make sure the stock pays us. We're going to make sure they pay us. You don't just tell me you're going to pay. I'm going to make sure they're going to pay. So we will set up a collection agency. Our own personal collection agency is called the Internal Revenue. So the banks, the corporation called United States, loan money to the privately owned corporation called United States. And the United States Corporation gave your body, your birth certificate, to the banks as collateral for the loan. And that's why today Americans are nothing but slaves. Now this is something I want you to understand. And you need to listen carefully because this is profoundly important. Most people have never heard this and don't even understand what I'm trying to say. So try and follow what I'm going to tell you. There are two kinds of law on the earth, as I've said. One is called civil law, which is the law of the land, and one is called maritime admiralty, which is called the law of water. Maritime admiralty is banking law. And the law on the maritime admiralty says that you, because you came out of your mother's water, are a maritime admiralty product. This is why the ship is sitting in its berth and is tied to the dock, and the captain has to give a certificate of manifest to the port authorities because money is changing hands. This is why when you were born, you have to have a birth certificate. And it's got to be signed by the dock because that's where the ship is tied to, is the dock. So the dock signs your birth certificate. Why? Because you came down out of your mother's water. You came down her birth canal. You are a maritime admiralty product. And therefore your birth certificate is signed by your mother. And where your mother signed on the birth certificate, get it, you will see it does not say parent or mother, it says informant. Your mother was informing the bank that she has just produced another product to be bought and sold. England, the British Crown, through international banking, owns your physical body. And that's the law. So you can think it's funny all you want. So the bottom line is that you are a maritime admiralty product. And on the back of the Social Security card will be numbers in red. On the front will be in blue or black, but on the back will be in red. The numbers on the back of a Social Security card in red designate your body. It is the serial number of your stock. And this is why if you're wealthy, you are preferred stock. If you're poor, you are common stock. But you are a stock on the stock market. Your body is bought and sold through the use of your birth certificate. And if you could get your original birth certificate back, you would find that on the back of the birth certificate are all the banks around the world. All over the world, banks have used your birth certificate because you are a stock in a maritime admiralty banking scheme where you make money for banks. So consequently, the corporation and government and people who want to control you, they create a second you, and that second you that they control, that they created, is all capital letters. Check it out. Anytime you get a bill, get a lawsuit, you get a fine, a ticket, somebody sends you a bill from the Department of Water and Power, check it out on your driver's license, on your Social Security card, on your insurance cards, anything having to do with business, your name will always be in all capital letters, because only all capital letters can be dealt with by banks and government. Anytime you have a name upper or lowercase, that applies to you. I got no control over you. You sign a contract in which your name is in all capital letters, now I can take you to court. Now I can take you. As a matter of fact, the judge sits on the bench. He rules from the bench. The word bench in Latin is a bank. Look it up in a Latin dictionary. So the judge rules from the bench. Right, because he's ruling for the bank. Why? Because somebody's going to pay. It's just a game here. The Queen of England wants a cut of the American blood. She wants a piece. So it's going, somebody's going to pay, and the money's going to go where? Into a bank. That's right. The judge rules for the bank. So consequently, if you are working in California making money, you are then referred to as a franchisee. You're a franchisee of a foreign corporation. 1849 Constitution of California says, no California citizen will ever pay taxes in California state, ever. There will never be a state tax in California, ever. That's the Constitution of California. But if you say that you're a United States citizen, you're saying you work for a privately owned corporation called United States. Therefore, you are a franchisee of a foreign corporation. Therefore, you must pay the California Franchise Tax Board, not California State Tax Board. There is no state tax in California. You pay the California Franchise Tax Board because you're a franchisee of a foreign corporation on the maritime banking law, international law. You work for the Queen of England. Your butt is owned by the Queen of England and a corporation called United States, while a man called Bush is the president of the British corporation. You need to wake up and find out how this stuff really works. Because once you understand that you don't need to submit yourself as an American to a British commercial venture called courts. You're an American. You don't need to go to court. You only go to court because you agreed to go to court. When they send you a subpoena to court or a summons to court, or they've sent you something, you look at it and say, hey, Jack, that's not me. That's in all capital letters. All capital letters is a corporation. It's a corpse. It's dead. Do I look like I'm dead to you? No, I'm an American, Jack. I ain't dead. And besides, I'll go to an American system for justice. I don't need no British Grand Lodge Masonic system called courts. This British Grand Lodge Freemasonic system called Inns of Court comes out of England. And it has manipulated, exploited, and lied to the people. And everybody in America thinks they got to go to court. Oh, the judge is, they've sent me something that I've got to go to court. I don't go to anybody's court. I'm an American. I don't need to go to court. That's the difference between being a free man and a slave.
But yeah, so he doing that, man. Like I say, creating the ERS system. This is like a backdoor way of getting to Nassar and Kassar. Now you remember, like we talked about, they didn't want Nassar and Kassar because that basically gives us freedom and it restores our sovereignty and gives us, put money back in our pockets, basically breaking us away from slavery. That's why 9/11 kicked off. And you remember the Bush, which was not human, he was in the school dancing, acting like, he had his alibi together. I'm at the school, I ain't had nothing to do with that, right? Then you had George Bush Sr., he up in there, this is a chance for us, this is a new world order and all this stuff. This is what they've been trying to formulate the whole time. New world order is one government. It's like fire or something. Anyway, so he was trying to establish that. So, you know, the Bushes and whatnot, they all related to the Queen. They all was Dracos too, right? So you was basically enslaved. So they doing stuff to benefit the United States corporation and also benefit themselves. The money was going to them. So of course, if you work for the Queen and you making sure she get her pockets paid, you making sure the money go to her, you gonna raise taxes and do all this crap. You gonna do all this stuff that's gonna benefit them, because it's benefiting your family, the royal families. Does that make sense? So this is one of the reasons why they didn't like Trump and all that. You see? But JFK, assassinate JFK, he was about to expose the government basically that worked for them. Our secret government, deep state, worked for them. Deep state basically worked for the royals. I'm just putting this stuff together for y'all, man, so that y'all have it. That's what they work for them. They work for them. They the priesthood over there, if that makes sense. So either way, man, Trump been an enemy of theirs, a sworn enemy, not just on a human level, on a physical level. We're talking about on a spiritual, on an intergalactic level. Those race of beings, those Dracos that have had, you know, quarrels with different races as well. Talk about the Dracos, Lucifer. That's okay. Now you gotta talk about Jesus, God, and talk about what race of beings represent the angels. You see what I'm saying? See, y'all, the way the stuff been broke down for you, it's hard for you to put it together because you're looking for stuff that ain't exactly how it is. You know, even when we talk about the heavens and stuff, we talking about fifth, sixth dimensions, 13th dimension. We talking about upper levels, spiritual travel, talking about interdimensional. Okay, so you gotta start talking about the beings that travel interdimensionally, come down from spiritual form into human form. All right, does that make sense? So these beings that come down and take on take on form here on this realm, in this atmosphere. See what I'm saying? You gotta come in this atmosphere and you gotta take on a certain vessel in order to operate here. Yeah, man. It's a lot, I know. I'm not gonna go any more in depth. I think this video is long enough. It's jam-packed with a lot of stuff, man. And I know some other stuff I want to break down for y'all. But I hope I was able to piece this together enough for people to understand, man, and figure it out, okay? But I was saying, yeah, that's what I was saying. I want to say that before I let you go. I believe that that Trump going to office, they made a plan. They was like, okay, Trump, if you do take office, we are gonna attack the people. I believe they said that, and they threw the fogs and maybe the fires. I don't know for sure if they took but the floods and all that. I believe that was part of it. I believe they said, look, we're gonna attack the people. Those fogs that came out had chemicals in them, deadly chemicals, right? Chemicals, people get sick. You saw the attacks from all the bird flu. They telling you where to look, but they the ones attacking you through the air. See what I'm saying? Birds, all these birds coming out. Or they even certain bad bird feed. That's why they getting bird flu. Or did y'all put something in the air that the birds are sucking up? You see what I'm saying? What did y'all do to make birds all of a sudden be getting sick? But I believe that they put an attack. They was making a last ditch effort to throw the virus out there, get more people sick with the mRNA. You see what I'm saying? They made a last ditch effort to do as much damage as they can to people. And what it is casualties of war. Like Trump had to take that and say, look, we gonna do what we gonna do. Y'all do what y'all gonna do. It is what it is. That's what's gonna happen. Like, you can't bow to the enemy every time they threaten. Oh, because we civilians, but we behind enemy lines. I told y'all that. That's why they been poisoning. Like, y'all already poisoning them. You already killing folks. It is what it is. So I believe that was part of it, man. And stirring up a whole bunch of mess, getting people all, caught up in stuff that's happening in these other countries and stuff, while they attacking us right here on the home front, right here on our own soil. Human beings getting attacked. So anyway, man, I hope everybody's good. I'm not gonna make this video any longer, man. If you haven't got a chance, get by Detox Shop, man. Get yourself cleaned up annually, quarterly, or semi-annually, so that you don't have to deal with some of these sicknesses and diseases that they've been putting out here. Even more than ever, man, because like I said, that fog that came through, got no idea. A whole video about the fog. It's in the fog. A lot of people were sick. A lot of people got sick. They put a lot of crap in that stuff, man. Understand that. So anyway, man, get by Detox Shop if you haven't, man. Get yourself cleaned up. We got the products back online. We also have the Trump shirts, man. For those that want the Trump shirts, they pretty cool, man. Sold a couple of them already. I think we might get a couple more. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna make another video probably by the end of this week. If not, it'll be next week. Hope everybody's well. I will catch you on the next video.
sprung whispers.